If you haven't made your first $1 million yet, you're gonna wanna watch this. In fact, I've developed 2 financial rules that I think are probably more responsible for all the money that I've made than anything else. These are not really common knowledge ideas, so I'm excited to share them with you, and I hope that if you follow them, you'll immediately start finding that your finances increase dramatically.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
And today I'm sharing with you 2 things that I did that got me here, because it certainly didn't happen on accident. In fact, if we walk around, I mean, this is a multi-million-dollar house, multi-million-dollar view, and listen, this isn't to brag and say, wow, look at me and look at all the amazing things that I have. This is to say, the advice I'm about to give you is super hard to swallow. And it's advice, frankly, that once you hear it, there's a good chance you're gonna say, oh, really? But I'm telling you right now, these 2 tips have made all the difference in making my first million, my 10th million, and then a whole lot more. So let's come check it out. The first thing that I want to share with you that I did when I had no money and I started building my wealth is I delayed gratification. You guys remember like the Stanford 1970s scientific experiments with kids and marshmallows? They called it the Marshmallow Experiments. And what they were doing is they were basically testing kids on their ability to delay gratification. I put a child in a room with some marshmallows and I tell them, if you wait 15 minutes, when I come back in, I'll give you twice as many or 5 times as many marshmallows. And what they did is they followed these kids through life, because some were impulsive. They're like, they would just start stuffing their face, and others would wait, and then they would be rewarded with more. And you know what they found? They found that people that develop the ability to delay gratification end up having higher success in life in like every area of life. And so delaying gratification doesn't sound sexy, but let me tell you how I actually did it. Before I became financially free, I bought my first investment property, a home, by the way, that I ended up making about $65,000 on. And I could have bought myself a way nicer house. This tiny little brick bungalow, I lived in it for free, however. I rented out the basement, I lived in it for free, and that made like a really, really big difference for my finances, because it meant I started saving money like crazy. To the tune that a year later, I pulled $18,000 line of credit off of the equity in the home, and I bought another house that over 10 years I'd make $135,000 on. So I developed this ability to say, hey, I would love to drive a nicer car. I would love to have nicer clothes. I would love nicer things. I would love to travel more. But what I did is I turned it into a game, and I said, I want to put that stuff off just initially. 4.5 years later, I had a 6-figure residual income, and I just finished building a multi-million-dollar house that I was going to live in for the next 12 years. And that happened because I delayed gratification. If you can delay gratification long enough and be smart with your investments, and here's how to know if you're actually delaying gratification or not. It's called PYF. It stands for pay yourself first. And you got to know this. Paying yourself first, the idea of it is I'm going to take 20% of my earnings and I'm going to save it and then invest it. And people are like, dude, we're supposed to live paycheck to paycheck. What do you mean you're saving 20%? I dare you to get to 40%. Seriously, 20% is a big stretch in the beginning, but if you build up to 40%, it means that you are saving a massive amount of money that you're investing. You could put it into a car today. You could put it into nicer this and nicer trips, or even taking a trip. But you're putting that off, because if you do that for a short period of time and you're good at your investing, then you can have everything and anything that you want. Within reason, like, maybe you can make your first couple $1 million. That changes lifestyle dramatically. So that's the first principle that I want to share with you today. The second principle that I prepared for you that I want to share, that most people don't even know is a principle, that I've just been living by, is this. Don't buy what you can access without owning. Like, for example, the beautiful, wonderful woman, Alicia here, who's doing filming on this camera. This is a how much is this camera, would you say, with lens and everything? With that, and you guys have any ideas, like probably $4,000 or $5,000, right? This is a nice camera, it's a nice lens, right? And if Alicia has access to one and can use it and get the benefit of it without owning it, it would be better in every situation. I'm not talking about becoming a professional bum, but I kind of am. Like this idea that you want the feeling of having a really nice car. You know that in like 2 months, like, by the way, when you get a brand new car and you get a ding in it, Like make the sound of how you feel when you get a ding in it. It's like pull your hair out crazy. 3 months from now, you don't care. Like the car has just become transportation. Dude, go to Vegas and go rent a Ferrari and drive it for a couple hours. Get the giggles and kicks. Do it a couple of times and that'll be so much cheaper than the long-term ownership of owning stuff. Problem is that people buy more house they can afford. They buy more car than they can afford. And then they become slaves to the financial choices that they made in a moment, that they have to live with those consequences for usually years. For a car, it's usually 5 or 6 years. For a house, it can be a lot longer than that. So delaying gratification is really a short-term initial goal to make sure enough money is going towards investing to have a better life. And number 2, find a way to access the things you want without owning them. For example, my wife and I, we bought an RV. We're like, dude, we're gonna use that thing all the time. And honestly, I didn't want an RV, but my wife did. It was like a 6-figure RV. It was nice. It was 43 feet. And you know, so I get this big rig, and by the 4th time we use it, we find out that it's lost its novelty, and all we have is this big, massive payment on it. We put a ton of money out the door, so we sold the thing. The last time we wanted one, we rented one, and then we used it, and we loved it, and we enjoyed it. But guess what? Ownership. I am not burdened by, I own this, and I own this, and I own this, and I own this. The time to own things is when you have a passive income from your delaying gratification. Your investments have wound up where you have enough passive money coming in that you can have ownership without the burden of finance that comes with it. When you can own it or just write a check for it or have it paid off and it financially doesn't like impact you in any way, that's the time for ownership. So delay gratification and only own when you have to, but when you can access it to get the most of the benefit out of it, do that instead. You can do that by renting, borrowing. This is short-term rentals. There's a lot of ways that you can access that, especially in today's world. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, I've got a video coming up right now on how to invest in your 20s, meaning get an early start in life. It pairs up really well like a fine wine and fine cheese with the information I've shared with you in today's video. I also want to invite you to come out to one of my events. If you're loving the channel, if you're loving the information, you know, I always get sad when I make a little 10-minute video because I can't ever go nearly as deep as I really want. But when I get you in my house, in my convention center for 4 days with my events that I put on, man, we get to go so deep. We get to rewrite the psychology, eliminate limiting beliefs, give you your $1 million game plan, create wealth strategies. It's an amazing time together. If you're enjoying this channel, come get live with me, get front row with me, and let's have a life-changing experience because that's what my events are. You also can get my books for free. You can find those in the links below. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next video. See you then.